Hello world, welcome to the 173rd climate change emergency protest here in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. It is April 1st, hopefully my microphone is working, let's see here. It's April 1st, 2022, and it is Happy Fossil Fools Day. That's what I have on my placard. It's a climate change emergency. So next week will be the 174th climate change emergency protest here in Gettysburg, and that'll be here, hopefully, at the Climate Change Corner, Protest Corner here in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Climate Change Protest Corner at the corner of York Street and the Square in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. So hopefully you all will establish your own climate change protest corners. So the question is now, what will it take for climate change action? What really has to happen? What will it take for the media to stop reporting about it? For example, and what will it take for politicians to start talking about it every day, all the time? Just like they talk about Ukraine or coronavirus or anything like that. This situation is a billion times, literally 8 billion times more important than any other issue, because 8 billion is the population of the whole world. So what will it take? Right now the media is not saying anything. You had all sorts of things that are happening, and they're available for articles to be talked about by the media, but they like blood and guts and things like that. Well, there is going to be blood and guts coming up, and that's called climate change. So, for example, you had the Arctic and Antarctic last week was 50 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit above normal. Do you understand that? The Arctic and the Antarctic were 50 to 90 degrees above their normal. You have island nations about to disappear. Kiribati, Maldives, Marshall Islands, and one other, Tuvalu. So that's 4 island nations that are about to go under, as well as the coastlines of many countries. For example, Bangladesh. So you had heat domes last year. Last year in Portland, Oregon, USA, you had 118 degrees Fahrenheit. Is that not newsworthy and going into investigation as to what's happening? You have also fires around the whole country of the United States right now, erupting in Europe and elsewhere around the world. You have the Taiga fires up in Russia, and then the northern areas of the northern forests of the world. You've had tornadoes. This year in March that just passed the United States, there were 219 tornadoes, which is a new record for March. You have hurricanes, severe hurricanes, worse and worse. Typhoons and cyclones, as they call them in the Asia region. You've had drought. The United States is in a huge drought right now. If you go to USA Drought Monitor, you can catch that, and that affects food production, things like that. The media and the politicians could assess the issue of what's going to happen to the ocean, the coastlines, or the beaches, and things like that when climate change hits full force. You have ocean dead zones right now. For example, off of Oregon and Washington, there's a huge dead zone. There are approximately 400 of them throughout the whole world right now in the oceans. Coral reefs. Many of the coral reefs will be gone by 2030. Definitely all of them will be gone by 2050. Sounds like a long time away, but 2030 is only 7 and some years away right now. You have rainforests at the equator. If the Amazon rainforest was a country, it would be the #1 emitter of greenhouse gases in the whole world. It would be more than China and the United States combined in their economies. So that's the destruction that's going on in the rainforest right now. And they become all these rainforests are becoming a CO2 emitter rather than a sink. You have mountains collapsing. These are articles that all the politicians could be talking about. You have media could be talking about and whatnot. You have mountain collapses. For example, the Alps in Europe. On the Italian side, Mount Blanc, part of it was collapsing down on the towns. You have people dying as a result of that. So that's your blood and guts that the media could report about. You have famine throughout the world. The media and everyone's not talking about the famines going on in Ethiopia and Madagascar and places like that. Why? Because they're brown people. It's not popular. Just like the migration. Choke people off at the border. From Central America and around the world that are climate migrants, keep them away, and yet you allow war refugees in. And I'm not saying you shouldn't allow war refugees. What I'm saying is the United States and other countries need to really look at themselves and go, so we're not allowing brown people in, but we are allowing white people in. That's kind of interesting thought process here going on. You have mass migrations about to come up, in the millions, hundreds of millions, and yet everyone's up in arms about the 4 million for Ukraine. Yeah, terrible for Ukraine. But hundreds of millions, if not billions of people are going to have to be mass leaving their areas to survive coming up with climate change. So these are things that politicians could easily be talking about. Why are we subsidizing fossil fuels and not subsidizing renewable technology? Figure that one out. I mean, we're giving billions, if not trillions of dollars to the fossil fuel industry every year to drill for oil and the life-ending gas that it produces, and yet we won't do anything to save our very selves. So that's kind of crazy. Graft and corruption. In the United States, for example, the Congress, in 2020, the average contribution from the fossil fuel industry, gas and oil, just gas and oil, not even counting coal, was $30,000 per House member. Now, these are the contributions. It's called kickback, graft, whatever, buy-in the favors and everything like that. So the House of Representatives, $30,000 was the average donation, and for a year or 2 years. And the Senate, this is 2020 statistics, the Senate of the United States, the average was $112,000. So you think these people are well-intentioned on getting rid of fossil fuels? Absolutely not. If you believe that, I got a brick to sell you for about $4 billion. So wake up as to what's happening. Another article they could be talking about, and politicians could talk about, is how activists in the Amazon are actually getting killed and assaulted for trying to defend everything. Shut down a protest in England. You have Extinction Rebellion. Yeah, people don't like their techniques of blocking things. But what's going to happen when the total collapse of the food situation goes on? Food prices get out of control, as they're starting to now, and you can't survive due to energy prices, or it's inaccessible to you, or the grid collapses, or there's social unrest, or government collapse. These kind of things. Extinction Rebellion will look tame by then, and people will be asking, if there aren't any left, why didn't you do more? Why did you sit on your hands and wait? So another example is what's going to happen in Africa by 2030. Projections that I've read, 700 million Africans will be climate change refugees by 2030. That's half the population of Africa. But why is that not important? Why is that not reported? Things like that? Because they're people of color. Okay, so you're getting a theme here. Things don't matter for people of color, such as the island nations and things like that. Yet, white world, it would be very important if a bunch burned up in Europe like they did in 2003, I think it was, where 23,000 died of heat in France and Europe. So also you got the Blue Ocean event coming up in the Arctic, where the ice is totally gone in the Arctic, and then that's going to lead to a massive exponential increase in temperatures of the oceans up there. So all in all, what I'm saying is things aren't being reported. Politicians aren't being open about what's going on with the situation, and they're definitely not representing you. You and your children and everyone else run the danger of absolutely dying of starvation, heat exhaustion, or whatever, and social unrest when the final, the bell tolls. And there's not going to be a warning. All you're going to see is the politicians scurrying into their little corners like roaches do. And so, we need to wake up as to what's happening. There is no carbon budget. I keep hearing that we can keep burning fossil fuels for another 8 years. No, we can't. Bad things are happening now around the world, and you can't keep at it. That's like saying, oh, I only cut off my finger or my arm. I still have another arm and leg to go. We're in deep trouble, and the human body and the body of the world, the life world, is now in trouble. There is no carbon budget. If we stick to the Paris Agreement of 2015, the projections are that temperatures will be 3.5 degrees higher than what they are now. So we're running the risk then of absolute dire catastrophe if we stay on this plan going, all we need to do is do what they decided back in 2015. No, things have gotten exponentially worse. That was 7 years ago, and there's no adaptation. There's no attempt to even try to do anything. Carbon dioxide, when it's emitted, stays in the atmosphere for hundreds, if not thousands of years. It doesn't rain down instantly, as I said. We're still breathing carbon dioxide at the time of Napoleon. Are you understanding that? So you have a certain professor who's very famous around the whole country, if not the world, just proposing all we got to do is cut carbon dioxide and it'll miraculously drop as far as the levels go. That's a professor up at Penn State University who supposedly knows everything. That is absolutely erroneous. There's no fact proving that at all. In fact, anything that, see, I got someone yelling at me. These people, they get all pissed off because I'm talking about climate change or I have my placard about it. And they feel personally like someone's affronting them rather than seeing that someone's trying to save their lives. And it does call into question about what happened with Will Smith and Chris Rock on the stage at the Oscar ceremony. And I don't feel safe out here. I don't want to bring my wife out here. And, people are, all you need is one person out of control. And I'm always keeping a wary eye towards traffic as to what's happening. Of course, behind me, I never know what's going on that way. So, no, I don't feel safe doing this. Not at all. Not in the United States, and that's for friggin' sure. So nothing good on scale is happening right now with climate change. There's no action being taken. In fact, the administration right now is talking about expanding oil production and releasing the oil reserves. And yeah, people are going to suffer dollars-wise with gasoline prices and all. But we need to get away from fossil fuels. And the only way to do that is to cut cold turkey and start getting our program together as to what needs to be done. And right now it's not happening, and there's no desire, and we're on a catastrophic, cataclysmic path to disaster. This waiting for a catastrophe to happen is the way of a child. You know, this is something a child would do. I'll wait till, whatever happens. You know, this is what's going on with our country, and whether it's sinister or it's just childish ignorance, willful ignorance, who knows? People that are highly educated, supposedly highly educated, they have college degrees, bachelors, and masters especially, they quit learning. They don't want to keep at it. And I've found that the higher the degree, the more pompous the attitude is as far as not following through on things. So they need to really get to it as to what's going on. So my weary eye is still going on here with people. So we're headless and leaderless, or worse, throughout the world. Detrimental things are happening with policies and all. So this is childish, willful ignorance, and we need to get on top of things, but, it's not going to happen. Everyone has to keep going back to work and driving their trucks, and, I wish you could see the parade of endless pickup trucks here in this town, but it's crazy what's going on. So I'll catch you next week. That'll be climate change protest number 174, I believe, on April 8th. And I hope you guys have a survivable, happy weekend. See you later.